Oh, what a day in the life of Arsenal. Plenty to talk about on and off the field. Mikel Arteta said, we have certain limitations and we have a lot of gaps and a lot of things to cover to become the team that we want. And then the availability of those players. Can you afford them? Even if you want to, it's sometimes been not possible. True, due to PSR and FFP, but then we have forked out in many other occasions. And manager, you're going to have to forgive me. I think it's very naive of myself, but I think this is excuses. Yes, I want Kudus and Nico Williams and Isaac and all of these stars. It doesn't matter if you support Arsenal or not. Everybody wants stars. But let's not be naive and act like we can't find players. Not that I have got them to hand that don't necessarily break the bank, but can improve this squad. Look at the current existing players. So Mikel Arteta, I have to admit, when I see things like this and I see bullish post-season comments like Everton from yourself, from the manager, from the Cronkies and everybody, yeah, it seems like lip service. It just seems like excuses. You come out and say we've got to maximize the market. In January and then December of 2024, you said we've got one of the smallest squads. So we're paying for either our naiveties, our mistakes, or our incompetence, or all three in the transfer market. You could maybe not this level, but you could see that we haven't got the biggest of squads. You know, we've got at a push 13, 14 players trying to compete in a 38 game calendar, the Premier League, and then you factor in the Champions League, the FA Cup, the League Cup. It sounds like nonsense to me, manager, man. And you know, 1 minute we're gonna act in the market. If the last 48 hours is something to go by, you're seeing all the credible journalists that have some sort of relationship with the club talking about summer deals, briefing us for the summer and saying that Arsenal won't spend. Now, I personally believe we need to address the areas. You know, I would love a striker. I'd love an 8. I think with Saka's injury, we need to act where the right-hand side is concerned. But all it takes is to have some positive news about Ethan Nwaneri returning, slightly more positive news that Saka is going to be back sooner rather than later, and around the whole health of the squad. Pardon me, and we won't act, and we'll hear there's no one available that can improve us, the profiles and all that jazz that people like to say. We'll get back into Mikel Arteta's comments in a second, people. But once again, in predictable realms, we've been linked with Marcus Rashford. It seems that Arsenal have made a phone call to Manchester United for Marcus Rashford. The club value him at 25 million euros. Now, how much is he going to want in terms of wages? How fit is he because he's not been in the matchday squad? I don't know Rashford as a person, but Amarim was there 2 minutes and he's decided you're not involved. And you've had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, technically Ruud van Nistelrooy, which you can exclude him, and now Ruben, and you keep hearing these things around Rashford. There's more questions than answers already. Now, I like Rashford. I like the profile. I like if you type in Rashford on YouTube, he's got some great stuff. But how often are we going to see that? The consistency levels, the decision-making, the overall player development is not there. Are we trying to be a rehab center or a football club? Now, I don't think Rashford is the worst player, but is he going to buy into the pressing on a consistent basis? Is he... I wouldn't say no on the basis that he's a body, but is he going to provide more answers than questions? No. Between him and Martinelli and your decision-making inconsistencies, we will go mad. This before you talk about the wages. And then you throw in Gabriel Jesus and actually everybody else apart from Bukayo Saka in the final third. It doesn't make sense, you know. And Rashford is going to want to be paid handsomely. He's not clearly going to get the wages he would have at Arsenal. Now, I don't know if I should believe this or not, because it does seem like it's the obvious thing to link Arsenal with Marcus Rashford. He has aggressively been linked with a bunch of clubs from abroad, specifically AC Milan, and it seems like this is coming out of Sky Italy. Maybe it's a bit of shenanigans and games being played. I don't know, people. But it is what it is. Arsenal have approached Manchester United over a potential deal for Marcus Rashford. According to reports in Italy, Manchester United are open to selling Rashford this month after he publicly indicated in December that he's looking to leave Old Trafford in order of a new challenge. Apparently, his brother traveled to Italy this week to hold talks with AC Milan, but an agreement has not been reached. Como's, you know, I think part owned by Cesc Fabregas, and he's the manager. They're bringing in some decent little players, and Juventus have also been linked. United are insisting that any loan deal would require a club to cover over half of the forwards 325k a week salary. You know, if Arsenal could do a little deal like they did with Chelsea for Sterling, you could see it happening. West Ham have approached them as well. I'm not too sure if I believe this, people. Ironically, he's not featured for United since the 12th of December. So how fit is he? And he's been left out of the last 4 matchday squads. Ironically, Arsenal and Manchester United fans are well aware of the game on Sunday. Will Rashford be involved in that? And you could imagine it would be the perfect time to have some sort of discussions, really. Charles Watts has said, at the moment, there is no suggestion that Arsenal are able to enter the conversation for, I'm going to call him Caradonna. I've not heard anything. Now, we knew we weren't. You know, Ornstein came out and credited Newcastle, Chelsea, Liverpool. Our name wasn't mentioned in that. So it kind of is what it is. Ben Jacobs has said, if Benjamin Sesko is available on the market, Arsenal feel they're in a very strong position. If Alexander Isak, the dream target, becomes unattainable, then there could be a situation where Arsenal turn to Sesko, but in the summer. Everything's happening in the summer, innit, people? Cunha, Kudus, Isaac, Sesko, this one, that one, and the third. Now, I've spoken about Isaac at extreme lengths, people. Let me know your thoughts on Isaac and everything we've discussed. Don't forget to smash the like button. But if you want to see specific news on Isaac, check out the last bit of content I uploaded because I'm kind of exhausted. We'd all love Isaac. It comes down to the money. He's under contract at Newcastle. He's adored there. They've got an exciting project. If they get Champions League, I think it's a myth. They're clearly trying to get him to sign a new deal. It would take a lot. You know, it would take a lot. You need at least 100 to 120 million or in and around that to sign Isaac. Whether the club will do that, I don't know. And that's just the money. That's assuming all the other dominoes fit. As much as I like Sesko and I dream of, I do like Sesko, but as much as I dream of Isaac and I think the 14 shirts free, he slayed North London the last 3 times he's played us. He scored at their place against us. He battered Spurs and he tucked us in the cup. And yeah, you know, the Odegaard previous playing with Odegaard, the number 14 shirt, him being a striker, a curtain raiser. I think he's the perfect striker for Mikel Arteta. He scores goals and does all that other stuff. It's not going to happen. But as much as I like Isaac, and he would be the number 1 target, if he can't, like, there's no excuse. You can't get Isaac, get someone else. Go and get this Sesko, brother. And then go and get another inside forward that can play on the left and even give us that push 50% of the numbers and the impact Saka gives us. Then you've got all the other players, whether you sell them or not. You start getting a stronger squad. We're always a couple pennies short of a pound, man. You get the club. There's a good positive base, and we're clearly in a better scenario because I think I've been very consistent with moaning about the same things that is leading to our demise right now. But we've got 1 loss in 13 games. We finally lost at the Emirates, and the last time we lost was in April of 2024, and we're still second. Why are we fumbling? We're so close, but we're not improving the fine margins to get over the line. And it was naivety where you look at the size of our squad, to rely on Kai Havertz to do it for the majority of the season, to expect a lot of our players, excluding Bukayo Saka, who have the capacity to get goals but go through rich runs of form. If we want to be a team that's challenging and not getting over the line, we've got enough. If we want to get over the line, you need answers to these questions. Haven't been provided with that. So it just feels like a merry-go-round where Sesko, Isaac, Cunha, Lookman, Kudus, Nico Williams, the list goes on, people, really and truly. Ornstein has spoken and said, what Arsenal will be doing, like many other clubs, is looking for young players for the future, some of the best in Europe. Nepan, who plays for Rosenborg, Arsenal really like him. I'm sure others do as well. I'm all for the young players. Bring the young players in and develop them for tomorrow and whatnot. But we do need some players that are ready to impact us now. He's a Norwegian lad. I'm sure Odegaard could give a glowing character reference. But, you know, you're now seeing we're targeting young players. We're only going to move in the market if it makes sense. We're prepared not to sign anyone. You have to read between the lines. I'll be extremely disappointed if we don't sign anyone, but I can't say I wouldn't be surprised, people. And that just tells me the club is not serious about trying to win major honours. Big up Ethan. You know, he's expected to return from his muscle injury before the end of January/early February. Can't wait to have you back. Arsenal are set to bank a 7-figure sum from Mika Berris' move to AS Monaco this month after the club inserted a sell-on clause in the 4 million deal to sell him to Stuttgart last summer. Standard Sport understands that the sell-on clause was significant. Okay. And you look at Mikel Arteta again. I think where we was as a club, we needed to get defenders and midfielders, and some have hit, some have missed. We needed to improve the core. Now we're at the point where clearly attackers make the world of difference. Even if everybody's fit, you can make a case of at minimum 2 forwards, a number 9 and a versatile kind of forward. Now it's the time to do that. Goals win games. Yeah, we got 91 goals last season. And I'm not criticizing the club, but how many were via set pieces, which I love that. Keep doing that. But what happens when you're not doing that? How many were scored by Bukayo Saka? Kai Havertz did it for half a year. Trossard did it for half a year. Odegaard has had better and worse moments on the goal scoring front. Declan Rice had his best season in terms of output. When has he ever been? When have we ever looked at him to score? Because if you're honest, you know, I'll be real. Saka is the first one you think is going to score goals. I guess statistically, you would throw Kai Havertz in there. You could also throw Trossard in there at times. But really, if it's not Saka to a degree, Kai Havertz, I'm looking at my man, Gabriel. From set pieces, he has to be one of our top goal scorers. So It's these fine margins, once again, that will make all the difference. But let me know your thoughts. The Mail Sport understands, and I have kind of covered this. Check out the last video. Arsenal will listen to offers for Gabriel Jesus come the end of the season, while Zinchenko could go this month. Thomas Partey's 150k a week wage is also set to be removed when his contract expires in June. There has been some rumours that Partey has a deal on the table and nothing's gone there, but you could, in theory, if Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Partey, potentially Kivior. I think Reece Nelson's on 100 grand a week. Tierney. We start to have a clearer wage structure, which has to go to renewing the deals of Saka and obviously Saliba, but also securing better players. But what I would say is, with the exception of Partey, Jorginho, and Tierney, whose deals are running out, Gabriel Jesus has a number of years to run on his contract. Zinni's got 2 years left. But what if they're comfortable in London? What if they believe they're key parts of the team? What if they don't want to move? What if they want to fight for their spaces? Who is going to buy these players? Especially Gabriel Jesus, because he's not doing the business. Yeah, you can talk about Saudi, but they're going to make offers that Arsenal deem acceptable. How much are you willing to lose? Are you going to let Jesus go without a number 9 in? Now, Zinni, we've got Lewis Skelly coming to the fore. We've just signed Calafiori. Timber obviously can play over there. Tommy Yasu's another one who might leave just because he can't stay fit. But on paper, I would fight tooth and nail to keep Tommy. Zinni don't really mean nothing. I wouldn't let Zinni go in January. I wouldn't cry if he goes, but we've hardly got any bodies, and injuries are striking and ravaging the squad, and we haven't been smart enough to have more bodies. So I don't know, people. Jorginho is being linked with a move to Palmeiras, people. That's according to ESPN in Brazil, and it states the 33-year-old has been offered to the Brazilian club. He's made 17 appearances in all comps for Arsenal this season, including six starts. We all know he's got 6 months on his deal. Jorginho, I don't think you're a level raiser, but I think you've done all right for the club. If you want to leave, leave. Another one who, for me, it don't make sense letting go in January, people. Midfield, we look weak. Sorry, that's the same article. We're still linked with Araujo from Barcelona. I'm not even going to waste time with that because we all know that's a myth, people. And again, everyone on their nan is adding their own little spin to Marcus Rashford being linked with Arsenal. There are also rumours that are quashing the Marcus Rashford to Arsenal stuff. I think it's very predictable and it's easy for journalists to make articles. Now, big up Mikel Arteta for his press conference. Obviously, he wants to go far in the FA Cup. We all knew we've got a rich history in the FA Cup, as does Manchester United. There's been a lot of good moments in the FA Cup with us against United. I remember when we beat them in the final, people, and I don't want our journey to be done, especially because of the current climate we face at our club. On the profile of player he looks to recruit in the January window, first of all, someone that can impact the team. Bringing in bodies doesn't help us at all. I agree with that in general, but we need to pull our finger out. It's just about someone who can immediately impact our performance and can bring something we don't have. To find that in the market is very difficult to achieve. Okay, sounds like a cop out, but okay. He then said, on cutting edge, if you look at the sample of a game or 2 or 3, that's a very small sample. You cannot use that. We don't use any short samples because they don't correlate to the team performance. When you look at a year or 2 and the team's performance scores, the amount of players that are involved, there's no discussion that we have focus on our players. I hear that, but come on, man. We know we need a striker in the wing. Like, you lot know it. You can bring up all these stats and this one got double figures, that one, this and that. Come on, man. Let's be honest. Because you tried to get Isaac allegedly, you tried to get Sesko, you tried to get Mudryk once upon a time, you tried to get Rafinha. I'm not trying to even criticize the club for failing or getting these players, but that tells me you need a striker and a winger. You know you do. You need a number 8, very different to what we have. Anyways, on whether there are discussions about recruitment, we always have discussions with the ones above about how we can improve the team, whether the market is open or closed, because you have to plan for what the necessities are right now, what they could be in a month. Those discussions are always open. So did we apply that logic in the summer? I don't know. Only forward is a priority area. No, the circumstances change because we have certain injuries for big players. So it's always a possibility, but it's about somebody that's really going to make us much better. Okay, so that tells me that you believe in the existing options. So you have to live or die by that, essentially. Is there any other key stuff? On our current form in front of goal, we're the team that scored the most goals in the calendar year in the Premier League, so that can't be a problem. Lazy. Because yes, maybe we're over-exaggerating, but come on, just with eyes. If Saka's not scoring, we're in trouble already, and Saka's not here. It's a cop-out, man. I know Arteta is probably playing a bit of the media game, and what he says internally is a different thing. But if you was to name Arsenal's strongest 11 and assume everyone's fit, give or take, many people would have Martinelli on the left, or Trossard, you can have what you want, but let's just say Martinelli, Saka, Havertz. Now, unless you can find a player that's twice the ability of Saka and they're on the market and achievable, that's not going to happen. I want, if you can find someone better than Saka and Saliba, bring them. It makes us better, but it's very unlikely. You're lying to yourself. And I'm not saying to alienate Kai because he can be part of the squad. If you can't find a striker that does what Kai does, but also bring goals, you're lying. their left-hand side easily, because we was all talking about, if we were bringing in a winger, it's potentially someone that ideally can play on the left and the right, but probably more likely to play on the left, man. So yeah, do you lot smash the like, man? Do you lot think Neto will get a start in the FA Cup? Because the United managers, come out and spoken about that their second choice keeper will play. We all know Odegaard is missing Saka, even though that's not a cop-out. Odegaard's obviously struggling in front of goal, people. The only thing I want to kind of leverage on in here, people, is what he's saying about transfers. In the front positions, compared to what other clubs have done and the expenditure that we have there, we are very far from it. Over the years, for different reasons. Firstly, we already have very good players and we have many necessities in the squad to achieve that period. Okay, so we've got enough to compete on four fronts in your mind then. On people always telling him what he needs to do, that's their job to have an opinion and to present them. For me, it's not a problem at all. Fair enough. That's the nature of the business. On Ian Wright's comments, how he needs support from the board. I have so much support from the board and I continue to have it. We are all sitting and willing to do the same, just to win the maximum amount of games in the way that we want to play and achieve ultimately the goals that we want to achieve, which is to win trophies. That support continues to be there. I hope we win trophies. I hope we don't go out of the FA Cup, but I do think we need to act in the transfer window, man. And I want to know how you lot feel, because for me, I think it's very unsustainable what we're doing.
Always